All right, excellent. Okay, welcome. We appreciate you taking the time to be with us tonight. My name is Julie Jerry, and I am a certified senior advisor. I'm the co-founder of Aging 123, and I'm a founding member and past president of the San Diego chapter of the National Placement and Referral Alliance. I'm the immediate past chair and board member of San Diego Oasis Lifelong Learning and a board member at Glenner Alzheimer's Family Centers. Our session tonight is Planning for the Future, Aging Adults and Their Adult Children Working Together. This is being brought to you by Poway Chamber Senior Life and Solutions. We have a link to our website in the comments. We have over 50 chamber members participating in the Senior Life and Solutions group. Our goal is to contribute to our community and business growth by supporting our members and connecting with and serving our older adult demographic. Our session goals for tonight are to recognize the signs of changing needs, understand legal and financial planning essentials, explore ways to age safely at home or transition confidently to supported living, and learn how to fund care and make proactive, informed choices together as a family. Now, that's a lot to cover in 90 minutes. We recognize that we're only going to scratch the surface on any one of these topics, and we recognize that you're going to have a lot more questions than we can possibly get to tonight. But we want to give you an idea of the wealth of knowledge that we have within the Poway Chamber. And then we want to also have the opportunity to prevent future content and would like to hear from you what you would like presented on a regular basis. So the session is being recorded and will be available on the Poway Chamber website. Each speaker will have about 12 minutes. After the last speaker, we'll have about 30 minutes for Q&A. Please submit your questions via the chat function or hold them for the Q&A session. Okay, so our first topic, awareness of the signs of decreasing independence, having a conversation with aging parents. As parents age, changes in health, behavior, and daily functioning can signal a loss of independence. Adult children and caregivers should be observant and proactive, recognizing early signs before a crisis occurs. Maintaining open communication, ensuring safety, and balancing respect for autonomy are key. This outline provides guidance for assessing independence, identifying red flags, and exploring appropriate care and living options. Our speaker is Dr. Paul Dorries. Paul is a licensed clinical psychologist and a board-certified behavioral analyst. His primary areas of specialization include traumatic brain injury, dementia, autism, and severe behavior disorders. With over 50 years of professional experience, he has worked in a wide range of settings, including homes, public and private schools, residential facilities, and institutional environments. Please welcome Dr. Paul Dorries.
Thank you, Julie. I want to talk to you all at this time about one of the things that happens as we get older. One of the things that you are introduced to as you get older is the possibility of entering into something we call the sandwich generation. And those are individuals who find themselves simultaneously caring for their own children and their parents at the same time. One of the difficulties with joining the sandwich generation is that you never quite know when it's your turn to join. Oftentimes, it's a result of a crisis that occurs in which you are thrown, and at 9 o'clock in the morning, you have never heard of the sandwich generation, and at 10 o'clock, you are now a member. The goal is to be proactive and aware of the signs that may indicate that there's some planning that needs to be done. And we're going to talk a little bit about how you can observe and what you can observe that will tell you that there may be the need for some conversation, some adaptations, and some solutions. The goal is not necessarily to look at the specific behavior, but to look at changes in behavior over time that may indicate a trend in a negative direction. And that's a sign that it's time to start the conversation and to plan early. If you're with your parents all the time, it may be easier to do. But if you're not, the holidays are a time when we often get together, and it's an opportunity to do some observations subtly, discreetly, and carefully. I want to talk about just some of the areas that you might look at. Uh, how does the house look? Is it cluttered? Is it well maintained? Are appliances broken? Are things stacked in places where someone might fall? Are there rugs that are loose where someone might trip? Uh, is it dirty and not being well maintained? You want to look for perhaps evidence of physical injury that would sound to you like maybe somebody has taken a tumble. Are there bruises that you haven't seen before? Uh, or lacerations? The majority of individuals, as they get older, want to live in their houses. Part of what you're looking at is the house ready to be lived in for an older person? And is your family somehow at risk being in the environment that they're living in? Beyond the external, looking at personal hygiene, self-care. Are you finding perhaps that your family is not maintaining personal hygiene, perhaps not bathing or showering as often as they used to, or they're not shaving, they're not keeping up with their laundry? Uh, if you open the refrigerator, is there enough food to maintain a healthy diet? Is that food expired? Is the variety of food there healthy and sufficient to maintain a healthy diet? Have there been any recent changes or trending changes in weight, either too much weight or not enough weight, or in appetite or in eating habits? Uh, each of those things should be relatively easy to notice, and asking some general questions about shopping habits, how often you may go out to eat and where you eat. Those are also important sources of information. Uh, Perhaps among the most important things to be looking at are changes in memory and cognition. Uh, Forgetfulness is part of getting older, and it is not necessarily a sign of anything other than the fact that our brains are full and they don't process information as well as they used to. Periodically forgetting a name or a phone number is really not an issue. Uh, if, however, uh, the memory concerns start to affect quality of life, uh, you get a phone call from your mom or your dad saying, I'm out doing errands and I'm not sure exactly where I am. That's a concern. Uh, if you notice a consistent trend in losing dates and events and locations, that's an opportunity to have conversations. Uh, if it's only with one parent, perhaps having a very simple conversation with the other parent about what they're seeing, so you can get an idea of just how frequent that issue is. Uh, are you finding that individuals are repeating stories or asking the same questions over and over and over again? Do you find that perhaps the house is filled with post-it notes on every surface? Again, may not be anything unusual, but it's worth a conversation. Can you notice changes in concentration? How long an individual might be able to sit and watch a television show or go to a movie with you and maintain attention to the activity that's involved. Uh, Finding problems with a word, can't finish a sentence because the word just doesn't come to mind. Uh, all of those things are indications that there may be the onset of memory concerns that affect the quality of life. There are lots of different kinds of dementias. Dementia simply means problems with memory. They're not all Alzheimer's, they're not all the same, but dementia or loss of memory can be an indication that there is at least something that is worth a conversation with a doctor. One of the areas in which memory and cognition are significant are driving. Are people getting lost when they're driving? If you walk out to the garage, do you see a car with lots of dents and bumps and scratches? That's an indication that maybe there are events going on in the car that you haven't been fully informed about. All of which, again, is a really good thing to begin talking about and to be making sure that perhaps you follow up with a medical evaluation. In addition to thinking and remembering, looking at mood and personality, irritability, lack of interest, disinhibition, acting in ways that are socially a little unusual, social isolation and withdrawal, fatigue. All of these things are significant things to look at, but remember, being irritable may be somebody's norm. If somebody is normally irritable, irritability is not a sign of anything. If you are not irritable, but you are now starting to snap at people, that's a change. That's what we're interested in, is the change. Extreme mood changes can signal the onset of depression or anxiety. As people become more confused in their environments because they cannot process information as well, one of the things that leads to is fear and anger. And all of those get translated into behaviors which can be snapping at people, being irritable, being withdrawn. Again, a really good opportunity to begin a conversation. How about physical health? Are you finding that perhaps the individuals you're observing are having trouble getting to a standing position from a sitting position? Get down on the ground to play with the grandchildren and can't quite get up without assistance. Losing their balance more frequently than they used to. Having lower body weakness, bending down or kneeling in the grocery store to get something off the bottom shelf and can't quite get back up. Are they reporting headaches or chronic pain or significant digestive systems? Is sleep changing? Are they sleeping much more than they used to? Or equally of concern, much less than they used to? Sleep issues are important to be evaluating. Sleep is restorative. If you're not getting enough sleep, your body doesn't have the repair time that it needs. Take a quick look in the bathroom medicine cabinet. Are there more bottles there than you remember? Do the bottles appear to be organized? You can ask the question about people's schedule of taking medications. Are all of the medications being taken at the right times? Do all of your doctors know that all of the medications that you're taking? Over medication is a significant contributor to loss of balance, loss of memory. It affects every area that you're interested in observing. If you're comfortable, ask a bit about money. Are you spending too much? Are you buying things you shouldn't? Are you letting people sell you things on the telephone or at the front door that have no use in your house? All of which are important things to look at. Are the bills getting paid? If you start to see signs of concern, then you want to start the conversation. You want to start the conversation respectfully, collaboratively, looking for adaptations, looking for solutions. You're not pushing, you're trying to assist and develop solutions. Perhaps look for partners to help you with observations, friends, neighbors, other family members. The San Diego Sheriff's Office offers a program called the YANA program. You are not alone. They will send sheriff's deputies to visit your loved ones in their home on a regular basis, call them on a regular basis, check their status, and report back to you if there's anything that you're not seeing, perhaps that they're seeing. The goal is to be proactive and prevent the crisis from being your invitation to the sandwich generation. And I would end by saying you are also hoping in doing this to be a model for your children, so that when they grow up, they're ready to do exactly the same thing for you.
Excellent. Thank you, Paul. And you were right on time. Beautiful. All right. Excellent. Okay. Thank you, Paul. So now we're going to move to legal and estate planning, key considerations for seniors and their families. Without the right planning, families often face expensive, time-consuming court processes and unexpected costs for legal fees, caregiving, and disputes. Proactive estate and incapacity planning helps reduce stress, avoid unnecessary court oversight, and ensures your wishes are honored. Our speaker tonight is Rachel Allums. Rachel is an experienced attorney dedicated to helping individuals and families protect their wealth, health, and peace of mind. Through her practice at Allums Law, she provides personalized guidance in estate planning, probate, and trust administration, ensuring that each client's unique needs and goals are met with care and precision. Welcome, Rachel.
Thank you so much, Julie. And good evening. Thank you all for joining us tonight for such an important topic, both for those of you who are joining us as seniors and those who are joining in that sandwich generation that Paul referenced. Estate planning is such an important component of our conversation tonight, and it can often be something that is overlooked or put off. And that can be due to some confusion. Some folks think that estate planning is only for very, very wealthy people. The term estate sort of has that connotation. But estate planning really just encompasses the various documents and tools we have to make sure that you're legally protected. Most clients come in to visit us initially talking about things that may occur at the time of their death. That's what most folks view when they think of estate planning, is what happens after we pass away. How do our assets and things get to the people and places that we care about? And that is a really important component of estate planning. The other sometimes overlooked portion is really understanding what happens while we're still living, but maybe reach a point of needing assistance or of incapacity where we are just not capable of making our own decisions anymore. And at that point, it's really imperative that we have those documents and tools in place, and that we've chosen the people that we can rely on to assist us with these decisions. So, looking over the various documents that you would be thinking about that you may already have or that you've heard about or considered over time, the documents that would relate more to that question of preparing for ultimately our passing and what would happen after death, those most commonly would be either a will or a trust. There are some other tools that can be used, beneficiary assignment, things like that. So, I don't want you to think that as we focus on a couple main components, that these are all of the solutions. And definitely, this is not specific legal advice for any of our guests tonight. This is information to help you get started. So when we think about a will would be a document you would prepare that would identify someone to manage your estate after death, and it would designate your beneficiaries to receive property. Wills can be a helpful tool, but oftentimes having only a will means that we would go through a probate court process upon your death. We try to avoid probate court whenever we can in California because it is a very long and very expensive process. It can cost tens of thousands of dollars and take up to 2 years before your beneficiaries receive their property. It is complicated and there is a lot of court oversight. It is public. So anyone that is a little bit nosy, maybe wants to see what's happening, has the ability to do that. So creating a will, while it's a good first step, is generally not going to be enough for most people. If you own a home or have significant assets, you may need some more estate planning like a revocable living trust. So if you are a senior and maybe you've already done some planning like this, maybe it was a long time ago, it's a really good idea for you to be looking over these documents and updating them as needed. Having a trust is a really important tool because it helps us avoid probate. It helps you control where things will go after you've died, and it helps keep the cost and the time limits down and keep everything much more efficient and simplified for the people that you love. It also helps you to manage things while you're living and make sure you have that assistance when needed. Most of my clients want to stay independent as long as they can, and I think that's really important. And the best way to do that is to have these tools in place early. So it's something to be thinking about. Have I done any planning? And if I'm the adult child of a senior, have we had that conversation to see if any documents have been created? Has it been updated in the last few years? That's another piece that is often overlooked. Maybe we created an estate plan and 20 or 30 years go by. That sounds like a long time, but I see it every day. Someone will come in with a beautifully produced estate plan that is 20 or 25 years old, and suddenly we find that the folks you had identified as your successors to step in, maybe they died before you, maybe they're sick, maybe they've aged out, maybe there's not a relationship with those folks anymore. Maybe you had guardians named for your minor children who are now in their 30s and 40s. So these don't even make sense as directives that you need. And what we see most commonly, the common flaw with will and trust planning, is that the assets are not addressed. So your home is not properly titled in your trust, or your accounts don't have the right designation. And if that happens, even if you've done some planning, it may still require us to go into court to resolve some of these issues. So it's very important that as your life changes, as things evolve for you, that you're looking back at these documents. And if you are a loved one of an aging parent, you want to have a conversation and just at least be aware if they have documents, especially if you might be named as that successor to step in. Do you know where those documents reside, and are you able to get a hold of them or to their attorney to make sure you can step in when the time comes? Now, turning over to the other portion of the estate plan, again, the most overlooked piece is that what happens when we're still alive, but no longer able to make decisions for ourselves. The documents that cover us in this arena would specifically be a durable power of attorney. This is a financial power of attorney, and an advance healthcare directive. The durable power of attorney document is used by your loved one that you name as your agent, so that when you are no longer able to manage your day to day finances, to deal with your banking, to file your taxes, whatever your day to day needs are in the financial realm, they are able to step in and take care of those decisions and those activities for you. Without a power of attorney, if you were to become incapacitated, accident, illness, injury, and you suddenly were no longer able to make these decisions, having no document in place means now again we're back out to the court process. That would be through something called a conservatorship. Conservatorship is essentially a court ordered power of attorney. And this is what happens for people who don't create the documents, they don't name their own chosen folks to take care of them. Now the court has to step in, and you're at the mercy of whomever steps forward to be appointed by the court and whoever is approved by the court. That may not be the person that you trust the most or the person that you're closest to. So it's very important that you take control as the senior, or you as the child assisting your senior parent, in ensuring that whatever the wishes are, they are documented, and that they are documented in a proper legal way to give the person that they want to be in charge the right level of control. Now, that involves some oversight as well. We want to make sure, again, as time goes by, we're checking on this. Is this still the right person? And do we have a number of people in succession on each document? It may be that we create a document and then someone becomes incapacitated and they still live 10, 20, 30 more years, right? So we need to make sure that we don't just have one person in that role, but a number of backup people as well, because that person, once they're incapacitated, you can no longer update your documents. You lose that ability. So really important that we're monitoring that. And then the most important piece to me as a planner is that advanced healthcare directive. To me, the financial stuff is important. We, of course, want to make sure that that is all taken care of, but it's the medical and personal decision making that is imperative. So, creating an advanced healthcare directive allows you to ensure that you have named someone to be your medical proxy, your decision maker, in the event that you're not able to do so for yourself. And instead of the financial realm, this document now covers the medical and personal, your day to day activities, where you will live, what kind of care you will have, making sure that whatever your wishes are for the rest of your life and the end of life are documented and followed. So, not only does it give that power of attorney to your healthcare decision maker, but it also allows you to lay out those directives. What are my end of life wishes? When would care be terminated? Am I an organ donor? Do I have religious preferences to be honored? What about burial and cremation? Have I thought about this? Have I done any planning? Do I have any specific desires? So, again, in this advanced healthcare directive, this is where we document these desires. So not only does that ensure that you have thought through some of this and taken control of the decisions about your care in your life, but if you are the one stepping in for that loved one, this relieves some burden from you, because now instead of trying to determine what you believe they would want, what you think they would believe or feel, you're just executing their directives. And that's such a relief to the person who is doing this task for you. Now, some people confuse an advanced healthcare directive as a DNR document, a do not resuscitate. And that's a little bit confusing because it's a similar document. And we do have end of life wishes that are expressed. And you may express some wishes about when resuscitative care should be withheld or removed. But generally, those DNR provisions are in a document called a POLST, Physician's Order for Life Sustaining Treatment. That's a little acronym. And that is something that you would create with your physician in the event that you are diagnosed with a terminal illness. And that would be a DNR in a hospital type setting. So we want to make sure that you are taking control of these decisions, that you're thinking through, and that you're taking the time to choose the right people to serve in these roles for you. Failing to do that can really put you at a disadvantage, again, ending up in a court supervised conservatorship because you didn't create a power of attorney or healthcare, and then suddenly you've lost capacity. That could cost tens of thousands of dollars, and again, push your family through a very stressful court process. The best thing that you can do is to take some time to meet with a planner, to think about your specific needs. Who are you worried about? Who do you love? What are the concerns on your heart, on your mind for how you want to live out your days? And not only express those in a legal document, but make sure you have that conversation with your loved ones. And my hot tip for you as we're kind of wrapping up here, I want to make sure that you think about how people will get in and help you. Literally, does someone have a key? Does somebody know where your safe and your passcode are to get those important documents? Does someone have the phone number and business card for your trusted estate planning attorney? These are really important pieces that we should think about for just logistics, on top of making sure we actually have those documents in place. So be sure you talk with your estate planner, make sure that you get the right fit for you. But anyone from age 18 to 108, power of attorney and a healthcare directive, that's what you need. Get started there, and then the rest will be planned for you for your specific needs. Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much, Rachel. As you and I've discussed in the work that I've done, I've come across a number of situations where we had an older adult who didn't have capacity and had to go through the conservatorship route. So yes, please, I ask all of my clients if they have their documents up to date, because it's just a critical piece. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So now we'll move on to aging in place in your own home. So aging in place means remaining safely and comfortably in one's own home as long as possible while maintaining independence and quality of life. This presentation explores the essential components that make successful aging in place possible: social connection, home maintenance and safety, in-home care, nutrition, transportation, medication management, and support for activities of daily living, or ADLs. Understanding these elements helps individuals and families plan proactively to support well-being, dignity, and peace of mind. Our speaker is Faya Nemate. She is the owner of Comfort Care Home Care in North San Diego, where she has been dedicated to helping older adults age safely and independently at home since 2017. She is dementia-wise and Parkinson's Pathways certified, is currently pursuing her certified senior advisor designation. She's inspired by her own family's caregiving experience. Faya combines professional expertise with a genuine compassion to support families through every stage of aging with dignity and care. And what you want to know about Faya is that she is a fighter. We did a practice run of this session a couple of weeks ago, and she had just gone through a medical procedure, and she was there with us. And even though it's difficult, she was making it happen. So thank you, Faya, for your dedication, and thank you for being here tonight. And please tell us about Aging in Place.
Thank you, Julie. And hi, everyone. I'm really glad to be here. I spend a lot of time with older adults and families who want the same thing many of you want, to stay in the comfort of home for as long as possible, safely and confidently. So today I want to talk, I want to walk you through what it actually takes to age in place, and so clarify how home care agencies can support you, guide you through financial options, and really help families avoid crisis. So, most older adults tell me, I just want to stay in my own home, and that makes complete sense. Home is familiar, comforting, and meaningful. But aging in place is not simply staying at home. It's staying home safely, happily, and with the right support so that independence lasts longer. And the biggest key is planning. Planning ahead means fewer emergencies and more choices. It means adjusting your home and your support system before something forces your hand. So, social and emotional well-being. One of the biggest risks to healthy aging is isolation. Even the most independent person needs meaningful connection. When someone starts skipping social activities, seeing fewer friends, or staying home more, it quietly impacts mood, cognition, and overall health. So, part of aging in place is building a weekly routine that includes connection, like coffee dates, senior centers, faith communities, volunteering, or even virtual clubs. Families often underestimate how much social routines help people stay sharp and engaged. Home care agencies also can help with this. Caregivers are trained to keep clients socially active and emotionally supported, not just physically safe. Home safety and maintenance is the other topic. So now let's talk about safety. Most falls, the number one cause of injury in older adults, happen right at home. A safe home is the foundation of aging in place. Simple changes make a huge difference. Remove clutter and loose rugs. Improve lighting. Install grab bars and non-slip mats. Add railings and clear pathways. Home care agencies often start with a free home safety assessment, which can prevent a further hospitalizations. Even small things, a dim highway, an unstable chair, become serious risk over time. And if home maintenance becomes overwhelming, that's usually a sign it's time to add support. Aging in place becomes much more successful when families reach out to licensed home care agencies early, not just in a crisis. Why? Because licensed agencies don't just send a person to help you. We provide an entire care system, a personalized care plan created by our care managers or nurse, trained background check and fingerprinted caregivers who are insured and bounded. backup coverage if a caregiver is sick or has a last-minute emergency, ongoing supervision and communication with families, electronic visit verification for accountability and transparency, and compliance with state regulations and safety standards. This is incredibly different from hiring a private caregiver on your own. With a private caregiver, if they cancel at the last minute, there is no backup. If they get injured in your home, you may be liable. And there is no supervision, training, or accountability. Families become the manager, a scheduler, problem solver, so it's going to be more work for the families. A licensed home care agency removes that stress from you. If someone cancels, we replace them. If needs change, we adjust the care plan. If families are overwhelmed, we step in with care management. This is why reaching out earlier, even for a small amount of help, keeps people safer and it reduces caregiver burnout for families. So the other topic is nutrition and meal support. Good nutrition is essential to aging well, but it can get harder with age. Appetite changes, medications impact taste, cooking becomes tiring, or grocery shopping becomes difficult. We can help simplify this. Caregivers can prep meals, help with hydration reminders, organize groceries, or accompany clients to senior dining programs. Sometimes the first step families take is meal support, which gently aids them into accepting them. Transportation and mobility. Mobility equals independence. When driving becomes unsafe, it's an emotional shift, but it doesn't have to limit someone's world. Transportation alternatives keep life moving, like senior ride programs, ride-share apps, pharmacy and grocery deliveries, or even caregivers can support with safe outings, doctor visits, errands, and social activities, which help clients stay active and engaged. Medication, ADLs, and the role of trained caregivers. So I want to talk about this topic now. So medication management and assistance with activity of daily living, like bathing, dressing, grooming, toileting. These are often the turning points where families realize they need support. So trained caregivers cue or remind medications, prevent falls in the shower, assist with mobility, help with safe transfers, monitor changes in condition, and support cognitive challenges with dementia-specific techniques or other disease like Parkinson, diabetics. So this level of trained support prevents injuries and hospitalizations, and it reduces stress for both the older adult and the family. Financial options families can use for home care. This is a big one. Many people don't realize how many financial options exist to help pay for home care in home care services. At home care agencies like ours, we help families navigate these options. There are several options like long-term care insurances. So we help families activate benefits, understand coverage, and handle paperwork. So VA aid and attendance. Veterans may qualify for $1,000 to $3,000 per month to our care. Many people don't know about this. Or Medicare Guide Program. This can provide $2,500 per year in support for eligible individuals living with dementia. Medical IHSS, so provides hours of support for individuals who qualify. There are so many options, reverse mortgage options, and many more. Even 6 to 8 hours a week using in-home care services can significantly extend someone's independence. Reaching out to an agency early helps families understand what they already qualify for and prevents unnecessary out-of-pocket spending. Aging in place is absolutely possible, and it can be empowering, safe, and joyful when the right supports are in place. The key is planning early, staying connected, making the home safe, and partnering with licensed professionals who can walk this journey with you. My message is simple today. Don't wait for a crisis. Have the conversation now, reach out, ask questions, explore your options, and give yourself or your loved one the chance to thrive at home with dignity and peace. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Faya. Appreciate that. Okay, we'll keep moving. And now we're going to talk about finding and moving into supported living, independent living, assisted living, and memory care. One of the biggest decisions older adults and families face is when and how to transition from living at home to a more supportive environment. Whether it's to simplify life, get extra help, or ensure safety and companionship, the process can feel overwhelming. We'll walk through how to find the right supported care community, from independent living to assisted living and memory care, and how to manage the move itself with the right team of professionals. Our speaker is Amanda Gast. Amanda is a certified senior advisor and owner of Oasis Senior Advisors in San Diego Inland. As a San Diego native, Amanda is excited to be part of a team helping fellow Southern Californians and their families in time of need. Amanda is a member of the National Placement and Referral Alliance, is a certified dementia practitioner, and is a co-event chair for the 2026 San Diego North County Walk to End Alzheimer's. Welcome, Amanda.
Thank you so much, Julie, and it's great to be here with you all. As Julie mentioned, I am a certified senior advisor. She is as well, and we have other folks in the Poway Chamber that are certified senior advisors. I bring that up because we are a free resource to help seniors figure out that long-term care plan, as Faya mentioned, early before a crisis happens. So about 75% of people would like to age in place, and of those, about 45% are able to do so. Therefore, since not everyone wants or is able to stay at home, that planning ahead is crucial. If you wait for a crisis, you won't have the options that you currently have today. A senior advisor like myself or like Julie can help educate you on your senior living options at no cost to you so that you will know what your current choices are and what they could be in the future should your conditions change. And we're able to provide our services at no cost to you because if we introduce you to a senior living community and you move in, we're reimbursed by those communities, which really frees us up to be a complementary service in the greater senior community. So one of the biggest decisions that older adults and their families face is when or how to transition from living at home to a more supportive environment, should the need arise. So some factors for moving for many people include, first off, wanting to simplify your life, even if you're independent. Another reason might be getting extra help, ensuring safety and companionship as we age, and the well-being of the family caregiver. As many of you know, being the primary caregiver for your loved one is no small feat and can have a significant impact on their health, finances, ability to work, and so much more. So today we're going to walk through how to find the right supported living community, should you choose that route. The ones I'm going to focus on today are independent living communities, assisted living, memory care, and board and care. I'm going to talk about how to manage the move itself with the right team of professionals, and we'll also talk about ways people typically finance senior living. So understanding the main options. So starting with independent living, many of us already live independently, but when I say an independent living community, this is an all-inclusive type of community that often looks like an apartment community. It could look like a hotel. You could live in a cottage. But this is designed for active older adults who are independent, want to enjoy their freedom, but not have the burdens of home maintenance while enjoying a little bit of a safety net. Most of these independent living communities offer full kitchens, but still include at least 2 meals a day, weekly housekeeping, transportation, and many organized activities. So this type of community is really about lifestyle and connection, living independently, but with some support if needed, and really helps, as Faya mentioned, with that socialization factor. Avoiding isolation and being more engaged is really something that is crucial for all of us, especially as we age. So next I want to talk about assisted living communities. These are going to offer everything those independent living communities did offer, but they are also licensed under the state of California to provide care. So residents may be fully independent, or they may need help with those activities of daily living, such as bathing, dressing, or managing their medications. In these types of communities, staff are available 24/7 for support and safety. This is not a medical model. There may be nurses present, but this is going to be more of a hospitality or residential model versus something that appears institutional or like a convalescent home. This is going to be more of a comfortable community that is focused on wellness programs, transportation, activities, chef curated meals, while allowing as much independence as possible. So, this is rather than a convalescent home, an assisted living community can sometimes be something that appears to be a luxury resort at times. So, very different than what we had in mind from decades ago. So, the third option I want to talk about is a memory care community. These are communities that specialize in helping individuals with different types of dementias. They provide a secure environment, structured routines, and staff that is specifically trained in dementia care. The activities are often designed to enhance memory, reduce anxiety, maintain dignity, and oftentimes to stimulate certain parts of the brain that might even slow the progression of the disease. And families will find peace of mind knowing their loved one is in a safe and secure environment, and they can go back to being that family member or that friend or that loved one, rather than all of those pieces of the puzzle that they have to be. Finally, I want to touch on board and care communities. Here in California, we have residential homes called board and cares, which could be a home like a neighbor on your street. They are typically licensed to care for up to 6 residents and usually have 2 or more caregivers, so that the caregiver to resident ratio is quite high. So this is perfect for people who need a high level of care, frequent hands-on care, or constant visibility. So these board and care homes won't have the structured activities of a larger community, but they do provide a quiet, home-like environment where meals and activities are highly tailored to each individual. Some of these communities are owned and operated by nurses or other individuals with a medical background. But regardless, it's important to review board and care options with a senior advisor to be sure that you're choosing one that is reputable, that is right for you, and that can accommodate the different types of needs that you or your loved one might have. So again, I just want to repeat how important it is whenever possible to use a senior advisor for this type of service. We are free to use. We start with a needs assessment so that we really do take a look at your level of care, what might be required now as well as later. We'll consider medical needs, mobility, social preferences, budget, location, and so much more to really help tailor down those options for you so you're not spinning your wheels trying to find communities on your own. Once we tailor down to a manageable level of communities that might work for you and your loved ones, a senior advisor will then visit and compare communities with you. We often tour in person, but we can also tour virtually if that's necessary. And during those tours, you'll take a look at the community to observe the different activities, what the residents' personalities are like, how clean it is, different amenities. And whenever possible, we do recommend trying a meal or attending an activity so you have a better idea of what to expect if you were to move in. Your senior advisor will also be reviewing contracts with you and the various costs. Not every community includes the same type of things in their monthly cost. So it's very important to know, are all meals included, utilities, what types of care, etc. And we'll also be reviewing fee increases, deposit policies, and reassessments when care needs change. Some of these communities, like I've mentioned, are independent and others offer a continuum of care. So it's really important to know when you're choosing a community, which ones would allow you to age in place and which ones would require that you move to either a different part of the building or to a different building or a different community entirely. And finally, some of these communities do have wait lists, so it's important to know how to get on a wait list ahead of time if that's something that you're interested in. So once you do decide to move to a senior living community, your senior advisor will help to build your transition team. So many folks here in the Poway Chamber are part of transition teams for folks, and one of those options is a senior real estate specialist. These are real estate specialists that are trained specifically to work with older adults, and they understand the financial, emotional, and practical aspects of downsizing and relocating. They can help determine when to sell or rent your home. They can price and market your home appropriately and coordinate timelines between when you are planning to move into a senior living community and when you need to sell that home. They'll also many times understand trust sales and other complicated situations and have a lot of respect and patience for people in this specific type of situation. The next person that a senior advisor may bring into the picture to help with your move is a senior move manager. These are excellent individuals and companies that coordinate all aspects of the move. So many times, the things that we've acquired over the decades that are in our home can become the biggest hurdle to us seeing ourselves visually moving to a new place. And so, a senior move manager can really help dramatically to sort and organize your belongings, decide what to keep and what to donate. And they'll also create a plan for your next home at a senior living community, looking at the floor plan and dimensions of the new space. They oversee the packing, the moving, the unpacking, and they can set up everything for you in your new home so that you and your family don't have to do that for yourself. So they really can turn a potentially emotionally draining process into something that is manageable. And then talking again about a financial and legal advisor. So Rachel had a great presentation on the importance of having your legal plan in place. We will, as senior advisors, always recommend that our seniors coordinate with their estate planning attorney as well as their loved ones to make sure they have their plan in place. And we do also recommend that you talk to your financial planner or financial advisor to be sure that the choices that you're making are sustainable financially for you, and that your assets and your interests are well protected. So touching on that finance piece, one of the biggest questions we're often asked is, how do I pay for senior living? Many people do want to know, or they do assume that Medicare is going to cover senior living, which is not the case. Most of senior living, as well as home care, is going to be privately paid. There are some times where if someone has a long-term care insurance policy, that can definitely be used for your care needs. We often do look into veterans benefits to see if those can be accessed. There are some Medi-Cal options. So if you are on Medi-Cal or eligible for Medi-Cal, there are some options there, but I do stress you need to plan ahead. Some of those options have a 1 to 3 year wait list, so it's really important not to wait for that. You can also look at selling your home or renting out your home. And I did just want to touch on that a little bit. We often do see people renting out their home rather than selling it to provide some ongoing income and flexibility, especially later on if your care needs increase and you really need to use that equity and can sell at that time. That gives you a lot of options. It also allows you to retain ownership, keeping your home as an investment or a legacy asset. And it just gives you, like I said, some additional options if you decide to go that route. Again, always work with your financial advisor to be sure this option aligns with your plan. And if you do decide to rent your home, use a reputable property manager to help handle your tenants and maintenance. Just a touch on preparing emotionally and practically. So, moving to senior living, even if you're an independent person, you don't need care, and you're making this choice because you want to be more social and reduce your home maintenance, it's still a big life transition. So, just acknowledge it's not just a regular move. It might be akin to when we leave home and go away to college. It's a big life transition that deserves some emotional attention. So give yourselves and your loved ones some time to adjust to this new lifestyle. Involve your family members, celebrate the benefits. You have fewer burdens, you have more connection, and you have a phenomenal safety net. And once again, I just want to emphasize the importance of planning your move before a crisis determines your decisions. So the earlier the planning begins, the more choices you have. Again, moving into supportive living is not a loss of independence, it's a shift towards security, community, and peace of mind. So, talk to a senior advisor like myself or like Julie Derry. Our advice is free and we are happy to support.
Thank you, Amanda. Excellent information. Okay, so we're going to our last speaker, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. So using equity in your home, and Amanda spoke a little bit to the different options of paying. One is to use equity in your home to pay for care. As the costs for long-term care continue to rise, many older adults and families are exploring ways to use home equity to fund in-home assistance, assisted living, or medical expenses. This presentation explains what home equity is, outlines the main financial options for accessing it, and discusses the benefits, risk, and considerations involved. By understanding these choices, individuals can make informed decisions that protect both their care needs and their financial security. Our speaker is Erin Johnson. Erin is a trusted mortgage advisor with decades of experience guiding families and investors through the home financing process with clarity, care, and confidence. Since 1985, he has helped hundreds of clients build wealth through smart strategic mortgage decisions. Welcome, Erin.
Thank you, Julie, and welcome everybody. Tonight you've heard a lot of great information about some very important issues that we have to deal with as we age and we plan our end-of-life journey. Now comes the big question: how do we pay for it? The services that we need as we age become extremely expensive. And on top of that, we're already facing the high cost of inflation, the rising cost of food, gas, clothing, utilities, homeowners insurance, home maintenance are financially straining many families, and especially the elderly who are living on a fixed income and already tight budgets, which is why baby boomers and their caretakers must take control of their finances and prepare for the worst as soon as possible. And it's important that all parties work together with their financial planners, their estate planning attorneys, tax advisors, bankers, insurance agents, so that everyone's aware of any and all available resources and how to plan how they're going to use those and by whom. And one available source of funds that's often overlooked in the process is home equity. Home equity is the difference between the market value of your home and any loans or liens secured by the home. In many cases, home equity is the largest asset that most retirees have. In fact, some studies show that home equity is the source of about 84% of retirement funds in the United States. And the question is, how do we turn that home equity into the cash that we need? Well, there's three main options. First of all is selling a home. A lot of folks think about selling their home, using the equity to buy a less expensive home, maybe even rent. They're going to plan on doing this maybe locally or even moving to another state, and hopefully having some money left over to save and to live on. And this might be ideal in the right situations. However, there are some potential problems. First is the expense. The cost of selling, potential capital gains taxes, moving expenses can really eat up a big chunk of that equity. Then there's the stress of giving up relationships and support networks, and then trying to reestablish new relationships in new communities. This can be very stressful, especially if you're moving away from children, grandchildren, friends, and relatives. The next option, of course, is to get a traditional mortgage, maybe a cash out refinance or a home equity line of credit, which can be a great opportunity as well. But that also can create new stresses, such as the obligation to make a new monthly payment, and maybe even the need to qualify based on income and credit history. A home equity line of credit, however, it could be a great option. However, if property values drop, the lender can freeze that line of credit and then start the repayment period, which means you have to make your payments, but now you don't have access to any more money in the credit line. And the third option is a reverse mortgage. This is probably the least understood and the most feared, yet in many cases, it is the best option. This option really requires an open mind to understand. What is a reverse mortgage? Well, a reverse mortgage is a loan that is secured by the borrower's primary residence. The borrower is not required to make a monthly payment. They can if they want to. It's the borrower's choice, okay? Principal and interest is paid from the home equity when the borrower passes away or they move out of the home. A reverse mortgage is a very safe option with many unique benefits that can help homeowners convert that equity to cash and continue to live in the home without making a monthly payment. There's several options that are available to homeowners over the age of 55. However, tonight I'm going to focus on the benefits of the FHA insured home equity conversion mortgage, or HECM as we call it in the industry. And this is insured by the federal government to protect homeowners and their heirs. And it has some of the best options. However, you must be 60 years or older to be eligible for the HECM loan. It's a lot easier to qualify for a reverse mortgage than a traditional mortgage. Just to give you an example, I'm about to close a reverse mortgage for a borrower who has a 540 credit score and they have several delinquent accounts on their credit report. We wouldn't be able to do that with your traditional mortgage. Let's talk about three different available options with the HECM or home equity conversion mortgage. First is your standard cash out refinance. You take a cash out mortgage, you pay off any existing mortgage that you have, take out any cash. You can use that cash for anything that you want to because it's borrowed money. It's tax-free up to about $4 million. Then there's what we call tenured payments, okay? And that's like using your home equity to create a private pension. In other words, every month the lender will send you a check for $500 or $1,000 for the rest of your life, up to $150. A third option is your line of credit. Now, this is my favorite option because it's so unique and so many different uses for it. It's far superior to your traditional HELOC, and here's why. First, the unused portion grows based on the interest rate. In other words, let's say you have equity line of credit for $125,000 and you use $25,000 maybe to pay for deferred maintenance, go on a trip, whatever you want to do, and you have $100,000 remaining on that unused line of credit. And let's say your interest rate is 6%. In 12 months, if you haven't used that line of credit, your available credit will now be $106,000. And if you continue to not use it, if you don't use it for 24 months, then you would have over $112,000 that you could draw on, and it will continue growing as long as you live in that property. The other great feature is that you can use it like a big credit card. You could draw on it, take out some cash, pay it back if you want, and again, it will continue to grow. And remember, you're never required to make a payment until you move out of the home, but you can always make a payment if you want to. And this is really important. The lender cannot close that line of credit. It will always be, even if the value of the property drops, and it'll always be as available as long as the terms of the loan are met. Financial planners and very financially sophisticated homeowners use this line of credit in a variety of ways. One is to protect income against potential losses in the stock market. They use it for investing, managing their estate, or tax planning. Some use it in place of long-term care insurance or to pay for in-home care. Some have used it to buy second homes. Others have used it to add ADUs to their property for their kids to live in or to rent for additional income. These are just a few examples of how you can use a reverse mortgage to reduce the financial stress and improve life during retirement, and provide for that end of life living expenses. And it's important to know, one is the homeowners always own the property. It's your property. The lender does not want your property. They're going to lose money if they get the property back. Borrowers must live in the home as their primary residence. The borrower is responsible for paying the property taxes, the homeowner insurance, the HOA dues, if any, and maintaining the property in a living condition. The loan becomes due and payable after the last borrower vacates the home as their primary residence. You can choose to sell or refinance anytime that you want to. There's no prohibitions against that. And your heirs can inherit the home. The heirs are never responsible for the loan, however, and the mortgage is paid in full with all the remaining equity and the remaining equity belongs to the homeowner or their heirs. And the loan can never exceed the value of the home. This is a non-recourse loan secured by the home. And in wrapping up, I want to say that a reverse mortgage is not right for everybody, but it can be a lifesaver for some and a source of cash for a great life during retirement for others, which is why I really encourage anyone who owns a home, is retiring or planning on retiring, to learn as much as you can about a reverse mortgage before it's too late. Many folks start thinking about a reverse mortgage when they're desperate, and it's too late for a variety of reasons. Planning ahead has been a common theme throughout tonight's presentation because our final years can be very difficult with limited options. Planning helps us manage the difficulties, reduce our stress, and create a great retirement. And I want to emphasize the importance of planning with two examples. These are two true stories. First, I recently met with two sisters. They're both in their upper 80s. They live together in a home owned by one of them. Their income's limited, and they both want to live in the home as long as possible. And they're struggling financially to keep up with inflation, and now they're needing some in-home care and support. They were exploring a reverse mortgage. However, both sisters have been diagnosed with dementia. The sister who owns the home is not mentally able to execute legal documents and therefore not able to encumber the home with a new mortgage. So the reverse mortgage options it's not an option for them. And they have not done any estate planning or have a will or a trust. So now their family's faced with some very difficult and probably very expensive problems dealing with how they're going to support them and manage that estate. Then there's Ellen. She's a 65-year-old divorced mother of two. She raised two daughters with very little help from their father. She's healthy, has a good job, but not able to save and invest a lot for retirement. Her only income when she retires is going to be her Social Security. She met with her financial planner to plan and budget for retirement. Her financial planner advised her to get a reverse mortgage, eliminate the mortgage payment, and save and invest some monthly savings. So we did a reverse mortgage. We paid off her $240,000 mortgage, saving her about $1,000 a month, and she was able to take out $19,000 in cash. She's using that cash to pay for some deferred maintenance on her home and saving for her future expenses. So now she can live in her home for the rest of her life without making a mortgage payment. She has expressed how much better she feels. She knows that she's got a great plan and it's really reduced her financial stress. And on behalf of all of us in the Poway Chamber of Commerce Senior Services Group, I really hope that you've enjoyed our presentation and recognize that the Senior Services Group is a great source of information and services to support you and your loved ones as you age. Everyone in the group is really committed to providing a high level of support to help seniors finish well. Thank you again for spending your evening with us.
Excellent. Thank you, Aaron. A lot to think about there. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move to our Q&A. So we have a couple of questions that have come in, and one I think is can be answered by probably there's a perspective by every single panelist. So I'm going to read the question, and then if the panelists, if you just want to take turns with your response to it. Let me get the question here. Okay. When do you think it's okay? What steps can or should be taken if a loved one is refusing help from family and friends? I'll read it again. What steps should be taken if a loved one is refusing help from family and friends? Paul, I think we'll go ahead and Dr. Paul, we'll have you start and maybe answer that from your perspective. And then Rachel, we'll have you go next. But I think every single person, based on your expertise, is going to have a little bit different take on this. So Paul, if you want to go ahead and be the first to answer the question. And you're on mute, Paul.
I was being polite and muting myself. I would say the first question I would ask is, what do we know about why the individual is refusing? Do they understand your concerns? Do they think that you are incorrect about your concerns? Being able to help someone accept your assistance requires that they agree that there's a problem to be solved. Unfortunately, if they are unaware of or in denial of the problem, it oftentimes will probably require either medical or legal intervention. Because you cannot force someone. You can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make them drink. Sometimes it requires a crisis, but the sooner that you have the conversation, the sooner you are able to address the issue and make it a collaborative team conversation as opposed to a dictate, the better I think you are psychologically.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Paul. Rachel.
I
So what
agree with
steps
Dr.
can,
Paul, yes.
yeah,
Sorry.
what steps should be taken if a loved one is refusing help from family and friends?
And I agree. The first thing we need to understand is why. If we have an independent adult who has all of their faculties, they have autonomy, they are absolutely entitled to refuse interference from anyone in their life simply because you believe you could do a better job or you think you should be helping doesn't mean that help is required. If we truly have someone who is experiencing cognitive issues, our biggest worry is that they are exposed to fraud, undue influence, others coming in and asserting their will that don't have any business being there. So it's really if it's a protective measure. If we really do have that issue, looking at some of the resources around, as Paul mentioned, adult protective services is really important in this arena as well, to have a case open and to have some professionals come in who can really assess whether this is a concern. Do we have a cognitive issue? If we do, and these folks have documents, we can then start the process of engaging the people that they already have chosen and getting them the authority to do that. Because sometimes in these circumstances, there can be an issue of combativeness, right? They're worried about losing independence. And even though it may be time and there may be a legitimate reason, we really have to approach this carefully. And so I think if you're not getting anywhere with that elder that you're trying to help, and you really do believe that there is a concern for their health or safety, then you want to engage those professional services or the local municipal services that are available.
Great. Thank you, Rachel. Amanda, as a certified senior advisor, what's your take on this?
I just want to reiterate everything Paul and Rachel just said. I think if someone does have capacity, bringing in a third party can go a long way, a neutral third party. And I think appealing to their desire to make their own decisions while they still can, and just saying if you're able to make your decisions now and kind of guide us a little bit, then your loved one, who they probably have an issue with at that point, won't be the one making a decision for you. But I think when there is a lack of capacity, then that's where it's pretty important to bring in APS if possible, or some of those other resources that Rachel mentioned.
Yeah, I think you
And
hit on
Julie, do
something
you have
really.
anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think you hit on something really important, and that is part of it is, and I love what Paul and Rachel said with regard to, um, where the individual's at, and I think it's also important to look at who, what is your role? So the person who's saying that they need something, is it an adult child? Is it a spouse? I mean, what is their role, and what is the relationship between them and the older adult? We see quite often that older adults don't want to hear from their adult children. I can have the exact same conversation with an older adult that their adult child has tried to have and have a different outcome because they can't hear it. So I think part of it too is what are the dynamics between the individuals? And oftentimes too, I think that everyone wants the same thing. It's just how we go about it can be different. Faya, Aaron, Rachel, Paul, anybody have more they want to
I
add?
can I go?
Yes, please, Faya.
Yeah. So, yeah, as other people said, so for I think first of all, we need to start with why. We need to figure out why they are refusing to receive the care. So after that, we should just use a calm approach that avoids any struggles. So we just need to validate them first, don't argue the facts, and just ask permission and keep it short. So, can I share what I'm worried about? So, that's one of the questions that we can ask them. And after that, we can offer choices. So, not not ultimate made them. So would mornings or afternoons feel better? So, for example, so do you want help with bathing or just laundry and meal prep? So, and then the other thing is start with the small portion of help. So, like only housekeeping, only light, so laundry, help with laundry. So, grocery shopping, and a small, start small, and then you can increase it in future. So, and then the independence. Older adults wants to keep their independence, so they don't want be like disabled. They don't want to call them feel their independence. So this is how we can say this is you stay in your home longer. So feel them that they are gonna stay more at home. So it's a some my I think might help them.
Thank you, Faya. Aaron, did you want to add anything?
That's out of my box. This is all kinds of great
Okay.
advice right here. So I'll just pass and leave it to the experts.
Okay, good. Good. All right. Rachel, anything else? I saw you kind of like,
Well, I know it was hard to hear Faya just right at the end there. And I think just to echo what she's saying, and I think we've all sort of touched on it, this is about a partnership with your aging loved one, right? This is not about coming in and taking over. And that's the most challenging part as we age, is that as we begin to have these issues and need some assistance, it's hard to accept that oftentimes. And especially when it comes in with that, able-bodied, very persistent child who's usually the one that comes in and says, I've got this, I'm taking over, you need to do this, you need to do that. This is not about, issuing orders and directives or ultimatums, as you said, Faya. This is really about, how can I come alongside of you? These are the concerns. This is how we can support you. And I think it's great, like from these perspectives, to talk with your loved one and say, I've been researching this. I'm concerned about this. I'm doing planning of my own, or I experienced this with a neighbor, friend, aunt, uncle, other loved one. So coming from that perspective of telling a story about things that worry you, I think really opens the door versus coming in sort of guns blazing, ready to take charge of the whole scene. Yeah.
we actually had a chamber member who's not here tonight, but Jessica attended a conversation like this with her mom. And her mom was phoning in from one part of the county, and Jessica was coming in from another part of the county. But just to be involved in a conversation, I think with a lot of other people makes a difference as well. hearing their
And in
side of
many
it.
aspects, those of us who are senior care providers, senior service providers, we are here to protect that senior's integrity as well and not allow these things to happen because of the concern about undue influence. So if you meet with an estate planner like me, you bring your parent in, you may be very close, they may depend on you. We're still going to meet with them without you for a portion of that time. I need to assess capacity. I need to have conversations about their level of desire for your involvement, right? So we're needing to do these things as well. So when you are offering that help, don't be surprised if you go along with your parents and you are asked to be in the waiting room for some of these events and then invited in later, right? We want to have those support people, but we also need to ensure that this is done in the right way and that we do support that independence for our elders as long as we can.
100%, Rachel. And the word that was coming up for me when you were saying that was dignity. We want to preserve their dignity and their independence and their ability to make choices for as long as they possibly can. Yeah.
Can
And
I
think that
ask
was
a
something.
question?
Yes, please go ahead, Tom.
First of all, let me thank you for an outstanding presentation this evening. I think all of the presenters did a wonderful job. My wife and I we live in North Poway. We're both in our mid-80s. So I have two questions I'd like to begin with. Number one, can you describe the tax benefits of moving into a nonprofit long-term care facility versus a for-profit?
I don't know that we have the expertise in the room to answer that question. Is there anyone, we could certainly get you someone who could answer that, but I don't know that we have that expertise in the room right now. If you can put your
I've heard on
information.
that. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, Julie, and correct me if I'm wrong. The only thing that I've heard specifically is that your care costs can be tax deductible. But I don't know that that's a difference between a for-profit and not-for-profit. Just to throw that out there. And your larger question, again, to recap what Julie said, I don't think we have that expertise in the room.
Okay. Second
We would
question.
definitely like to, yeah, we would definitely like to get that answer for you. So if you can, maybe put your name in the chat, and then we'll get that information and your name and your contact information, and we'll get that information for you.
I'd be glad to. The second question is, we've heard 5 great presentations. We're ready to seek your wisdom. What's the sequence in which we should visit with the 5 of you? Tell me 1 through 5.
Doesn't sound like you'd need me at all, so I would keep me out of it.
Okay. All right.
Julie.
Well, yeah, I'll take a pass at it, and then we'll have other people weigh in. I think the first couple of things would be, do you have, we'll go back to the conversation with Rachel, and do you have your documents in order? So I think that's where I would start, is do you have your documents in order? If you do you have an attorney? So do you have your power of attorney, your DPOA, and your healthcare directive? Do you have those already?
Yes,
And are
we
those
do, but
current?
they go back probably 10 years.
Okay. And is your attorney still available to you?
I haven't checked.
Okay.
That's
So that might
that's
be
a
a
good
place to
place to start. Yeah, I don't mean to
Yeah.
interrupt you, Julie.
Yeah,
We
please.
always want to make sure as planners, if you have a great relationship with your planner, continue to use them because you've already built that over time. They know about your family, any concerns you have. So that's a great place to start. If you don't, you can, of course, look to the chamber. We have lots of amazing estate planning attorneys serving seniors. Great start to review that. And then that helps to guide that conversation as you start to make decisions, then going to these next providers. And I think that would probably be maybe jointly with someone like Amanda or Julie and someone like Aaron to talk about next options. Does that sound right?
That sounds absolutely right.
I'm a big
Yeah.
believer in a fresh look, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for 10 years,
It'd be a great
having a
place
fresh
to
look
start,
is worthwhile.
as is described. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I absolutely echo what Rachel said. I would start with one of the certified senior advisors. So you've got myself, Amanda, there's Sydney Kennedy is in the chamber as well. So I would start with a certified senior advisor, and any one of us can guide you through the process of making sure you have your documents and pointing you to an attorney if you're looking for a fresh look, as you said.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
being here tonight. We
Yeah,
appreciate
thank
it.
you for being here. Great question.
Okay. Do we have another question? I know we have one more in chat. Is there anyone else who has a question? I'll go back to the one in chat.
There's a question and a comment in the chat, and I can address that comment if you want to do the question.
Sure. Okay. All right.
Julie, one thing you can do for me,
Yes.
if you can give me the contact information on each of the presenters here this evening, I'd really appreciate it.
We
And
will
I
get that
will
out.
tell you my email address is JIMSKY jimsky458
Okay.
at gmail.com.
Okay. Let me check with Laura. Laura, do we have that email address?
Yes, JIMSKY458 at gmail.com.
Yeah, we
Okay.
got it.
And yes, we
Yes.
have it.
Okay, we have it, and we will get you the names of all of the presenters. And we're also sending out, I believe, Laura, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe we're also sending out the document that we presented for tonight.
Correct. We can send that to all registered attendees. And I also just put the link in the chat for the Senior Life Solutions special page.
Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to quickly address Carol's question, and then Rachel's going to go to the comment. So Carol, you had a question about, I still occasionally hear reference to nursing home. What is a nursing home? Also, what is skilled care, and how do they compare to assisted living? So I'll hit that really quickly. Amanda, please jump in if I miss anything. So yeah, we don't necessarily use nursing home anymore. What we have skilled nursing facilities, and skilled nursing facilities perform two functions. One is rehabilitation. So if someone falls, breaks a hip, they have surgery, they go into the skilled nursing facility for 2 weeks for rehabilitation. So that's one function. The other function is for long-term custodial. So that long-term custodial bed would be somebody who is on Medi-Cal and does not have the financial resources to be in assisted living. So they would be on custodial care within a skilled nursing facility. So those are the two functions. And then your next question is, and how they compare. So then the assisted living would be the private pay. In a skilled nursing, you're getting skilled care. So that would be like physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, or something that a nurse would provide, like an IV or a ventilator, that type of thing. Does that answer your question, Carol? Okay, cool. Awesome. Rachel, you're up.
Yeah, so Christopher had a comment. He mentioned about avoiding probate by using a life estate deed if you just have a primary home versus getting a trust. And I think what he's talking about is a transfer on death deed. And Christopher, you might just mention that. Life estate is actually different terminology. So what I want to say is, yes, that's possible. That is a tool. And as I mentioned in my presentation, there are a lot of different tools, from very basic, very simple planning. And that's where we want to start you. We never want to put you in a plan that's too big. A trust is not for everyone. But there are those components, that power of attorney, that healthcare, that are for everyone. So I just caution that as you're looking for simple solutions, they are out there. Talk to your planner, because we want to make sure that might be the right solution for, let's say, distributing your house, but you still need those other things to make sure you're cared for during your lifetime. And the terminology can get very confusing. So if you're just sort of Googling terms you've heard, you might get back responses with those terms, but they may not fully explain the differentiation. So just be a little bit careful and make sure you chat with a professional to know what's right for you.
Great. Thank you, Rachel. All right, we are at 8 o'clock. So I just want to wrap up and summarize our key takeaways. So first and foremost, there is a plethora of expertise within the chamber. Reach out to the chamber, go to the website. Like I said, we have over 50 members that are supporting seniors within the Poway Chamber. So please take advantage of the resources that are available to you. In summary of the key takeaways: awareness, recognize early signs of changing needs. Planning, this was stated over and over and over again, planning, address legal and financial matters before a crisis. Support, use professionals to make transitions smoother. Choice, whether aging in place or moving to a supported living, planning empowers independence. So thank you so much for being with us tonight. Again, it's sponsored by the Poway Chamber. We look forward to providing additional content in the future. And thank you to all of all of our presenters as well. And presenters, if you'd please stay on for a wrap up, I'd appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Night.
Thank you
Julie,
all.
may I put in one quick plug?
Yes.
I happen to be on the board of the the Poway Symphony Orchestra. I don't know if any of you have had the joy of attending a concert there. We do 3 concerts at the Poway Performing Arts Center. It's amazing that our city, which is less than 50,000, has a symphony of this excellent level. So I encourage you to learn about it and please attend. You'll be thrilled. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Good
Jim.
reminder. Yeah.
It is a
Thank you,
great
Jim.
product, and they are a proud chamber member as well. So thank you so much, Jim. We appreciate what you do there.
You're welcome.